back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. I need to start putting the disclaimers back up again at the beginning of our videos, that the opinions expressed here are not those of Dreamland
Well, we
Comics.
haven't needed to in a while because, I've kind of toned down my rhetoric against Marvel and bullshit in general. But you know what it was? It was the fact that you fucking liked those books, and I needed to put my anger somewhere, and instead of putting it through your face, I had to verbalize it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate that. No, nothing through my face, please. Anyway, we are now at the part that we call Last Rants, and Last Rants is when Jose and I either revisit a topic that we've talked about before or go on to something new. Generally, Last Rants is something that really gets our ire. It hit the internet last week, and we posted it on the blog too, and a lot of folks gave their comments. And even since then, I have actually had some exchanges with people in the industry about this. Dan DiDio, apparently editor-in-chief, or is he editor-in-chief, or they call him something else?
Or they might call him something else.
Something else?
Yeah.
Editor-in-chief of DC Comics is now, and I'm getting this from pretty good sources, outside of Rich Johnston, who reported this.
Who broke the news.
Is pushing now to revisit the Watchmen series, originally produced by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons way back in 1988. So we've passed the 20th anniversary of Watchmen already. But there's talk about prequels and sequels, although I don't see sequels. I think it's more prequels. He wants to start producing...
Well, if you call it Watchmen 2, isn't that going to be a sequel?
In a way, but I'm thinking more... Because really, if you...
Well, who knows even if they're going to call it Watchmen 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking they'd probably call it Tales of Watchmen, stuff like that. From what I understand and what I've heard, it would be just, again, miniseries and books, one-shots and minis featuring the characters of the Watchmen universe, and my guesses would be stuff that happened before the actual Watchmen series itself. Because once you go beyond the end of Watchmen, it's kind of, there's not that much you can do.
We all know how well that worked out for Kingdom.
There were two bits they did with the Kingdom. There were two sequels. One, Kingdom Come, there was the Kingdom, of course.
Well, that's what
that Mark Waid wrote and did.
And then they had all the one-shots and
all
the
one shots,
and
and then Alex Ross went and did his own sequel of sorts in the JSA book with Jeff Johns.
Mm-hmm. But that was just using the Superman from that universe.
Using the Superman unit from that, right? So. And not only that, but they have done other sequels in the past. You had, of course, Dark Knight Returns.
Well, the big thing with that was that
Strikes.
it was the same creators.
Right.
Yeah, and then when Frank Miller totally fucked it up, it was his own fault.
So here's the thing. So the issue here is, and this is a question I had been posed by some creators who asked me, who were out putting the opinion out there. If you are a creator and let's say you're an up-and-coming creator like myself, and DC approaches you and says, hey, you can do a Rorschach miniseries, all right? Do you take the job? Or is there so much baggage associated with that character and that miniseries that if you did it, you're basically you're killing any chance of making a name for yourself. So
because if that's your first big shot
right.
to do at DC, that's going to be the thing you're going to be remembered for.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right. Just like I will always be remembered for Ash Saves Obama.
I've already forgotten about that, thankfully. All right, so to put a disclaimer on this, we're not arguing that there shouldn't be any Watchmen stuff done. We're not saying, DC, you can't do this, because they can do it. They own the characters.
Right.
They can do whatever they want for it. So that's not what we're saying at all.
What we're trying to figure out here is the merits behind or against it. So as a writer, I mean, I'll be honest. When I first heard the news, I mean, my fanboy knee-jerk reaction was, "Oh hell no, no way, they can't do that. You shouldn't do that. I mean, come on, that's blasphemy." But then when you sit back and you go, "Okay, let's really think this through, and let's look at the other types of comic book creations," and like again, we'll talk back to the Dark Knight Returns, that we have considered sacrosanct. That sequels have... Hell, they made a sequel to Gone with the Wind already. Okay?
They didn't actually make a movie. They did a book, though.
No, they did a movie. They did a made-for-television movie.
Was that based on the book?
Yeah, it was based on
the Scarlet book?
Yeah.
Right.
So you see, this sort of thing, the idea of there being sequels made to things that, maybe stories that we've really come to appreciate and love, that we really feel should remain untouched and left pure. Now, this kind of thing has happened, for ages. I'm of the mind,
I mean, we all know what happened. I mean, they're doing another Clone Saga book. Talk about stories that just should be left alone and that are obviously pure.
Because the fans demand
perfect.
But I think about Watchmen, and let's think about Watchmen prequels. Okay, let's say you have no choice. You're going to have these books done. Wouldn't you like to see, let's say, a Dr. Manhattan miniseries written by Grant Morrison with art by Doug Mahnke?
That would be cool to see, but here's the thing. We also have to talk about what this could be. And if it is, in fact, going to be our prequel to The Watchmen. Right. Because there were rumors, back during Final Crisis, that one of the Earths was going to be the Watchmen universe. Right. And which turned out to be the Charlton
characters.
Charlton characters. Which Grant Morrison has been talking about maybe doing something with those characters.
Because that was what Alan Moore originally wanted to do, right. But he was told he couldn't, so he had to go and make up those other versions of those particular characters.
So now, if they do a Watchmen 2, and it is like an Elseworlds thing that is actually separate from the actual Watchmen thing, I think that would probably go down a little bit easier with some people, and I think it would be a little bit more acceptable, because, I mean, the seeds have been sown for that to actually take place. Mm-hmm. If it's not actually in continuity with the continuity of Watchmen, because really, if you do a prequel, all that stuff's done.
Right.
Alan Moore has already given you a timeline.
Right. Yeah.
Why do we need it?
Because people will buy it.
Well, I mean, obviously,
I know you're saying why we need it, and that you're.
But I mean,
wouldn't
it just be retreading old stuff that Alan Moore would be better just reading his prequel stuff and his back matter stuff in each of those Watchmen to get the stories.
Yeah, but you can also there are gaps in there.
There are gaps. I guess you could do like a Rorschach, like Year One kind of thing. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Some folks will want to buy it. Some folks
people will buy it, obviously, and people in mainstream people who bought the Watchmen trade when the movie came out are going to buy it because again they don't hold it to that standard. Because if they're not real comic fans, they're not going to hold it to that standard, and they're going to buy it. One of the things though that really surprised me is how many news outlets and websites picked up on Rich Johnson thing and put him up. Bam! Watchmen 2 is coming. It's like, do people? I mean, I was under the impression that movie was very ill received from the mainstream media. Yeah. The only comic book fans really, really liked it.
Right.
But it really surprised me how many places were reporting it.
Right.
Because is that really news?
Well, they were misreporting it.
Well, they were first of all, they were misreporting it.
They were saying that they were laying the groundwork for a Watchmen movie sequel,
right.
And it wasn't a movie sequel. It was a comic book spin-off or prequels of sorts.
But to me, that was just shocking that they were misreporting it as a movie sequel. I'm like, really? Do people really want the movie sequel?
Yeah, I don't think they do. I think if anything, if you could see anything else happen with the Watchmen, any sort of Watchmen properties, I would see it like as a direct-to-video type stuff, like some animated features or live-action stuff, but done direct-to-video. Because that seems to be the next big thing now is direct-to-video.
Yeah. And so one of the main reasons this is coming about now is because Paul Levitz is no longer the president of publishing.
DC. But
he was the one guy who was like, We're not gonna. He's like, he was a good guy in that spot. I mean, he gets sometimes a bad rep, but he kept a lot of things in check. It kept a lot of bad things from happening. And this is one of those things that he kept from happening because he respected the source material. Yeah, Alan Moore and him obviously had problems.
Right.
But, you know, he knew that that's just something that you don't want to mess with.
Right. So here's my question to those of you out there. If you really feel that you can't do Watchmen spin-offs or prequels or whatever, why not? I'm just curious as to why not. What is it about doing that sort of thing that... And I sat back, and again, like I said, my fanboy reaction was, oh, no, they can't do it. And then, but after I stepped back and I looked at myself, I was there going, well, gee, now really, why can't you? Because if we've learned anything from letting only the creator deal with a particular product that they've been involved in, even then doesn't guarantee anything. George Lucas and the prequels, okay? I'm sorry, Alan Moore and his own continuation of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series. It is getting way out there. It's getting really way out there, and even for me, a fan of his work, I'm having a hard time keeping up with him and finding any sort of accessibility to it. Why not have... You know, what about if just Dave Gibbons did a Rorschach miniseries? He and him, he did it by himself.
That would be cool.
You know, I don't think
well, see, I don't... When I first... I mean, I wasn't angry when I heard it, but when I first read the story, I was like, oh, very interesting. And so I posted a link to it, to the blog, because though I liked Watchmen, I didn't grow up with Watchmen. I read Watchmen much later because I wasn't into DC when I grew up. So I'm kind of removed. Yeah, it was a good book. And I don't really hold it to that high as regards to some other things.
Right.
So I am actually kind of a few steps away from actually, you know, there when I'm reading this. I'm just like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't think they should do it personally because I don't know if it can be good. But remember a couple of years ago when that was the whole joke where Jeff Johns is going to write it and Alex Ross is going to... Remember that teaser that they put up at Comic-Con? It was a joke.
Yeah.
Don't you remember that?
No.
It's like Alex Ross did like a Rorschach painting or something, and it was said Watchmen, Jeff Johns, and Alex Ross. And I remember like, what the fuck? How do you not remember this? This was either last year or a couple years ago at the Comic Con.
Okay.
But man, when that came out, people were like up in arms about it. But it was a joke because it was Jeff Johns,
right?
And then Alex Ross would be kind of cool doing that.
I'm the more and more I think about it, I'm trying to figure out why get upset about it. Look at it this way: if only the creators of a certain property can work on something, then Fantastic Four should have ended with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and all these characters that we enjoy today. Unless the original creators are able to work on them, we'd never see them again. You know, Batman would be gone after Bob Kane. Mm-hmm. So while I do know that that's kind of the mercenary marketing type justification for it, it's not to say that you can't get something good out of that. You know, there's not... Again, I would love to see Grant Morrison do a Dr. Manhattan miniseries.
Maybe Jeff Loeb can come back to DC and do some stuff there.
Oh, wow, yeah. Jeff Loeb doing Comedian.
With Tony Daniel on the art.
No, Tony Daniel all by himself. Tony Daniel doing the Comedian, that would rock.
You know what? I will wholeheartedly back the entire series of one-shots and miniseries done by Tony Daniel by himself. I will back that.
Yeah, because I think he's the
because
only
that would
one
end
capable.
his career, and it would be beautiful.
I can think Brian Azzarello doing a Comedian mini, or David Latham. I think that would be really
kind of cool.
So
I think it would, getting back to if you are a new guy breaking in, obviously you don't want to touch this, but I think the way that it would work is if you get well-respected creators, writers and artists, both to do it. I think that's how it works. I don't know, someone like Brian K. Vaughan, someone of that caliber, who is going to be untouchable whether people don't like it or not. That it's going to be good regardless.
J. Michael Straczynski.
Straczynski would be another good. Yeah, I mean that would be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind seeing his take on one of those.
Him doing an Ozymandias.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was touched upon in the article that Rich wrote or something. It's like you don't want to give this to just one writer, and one artist. If you spread out the blame, so to speak, I think that it'll go down a lot easier.
Right. So what do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of like already kind of psyched about it. I would, mind you, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole myself.
Maybe Brandon Jerwa can write one of them.
Oh, no, he wouldn't want to do that.
No,
he wouldn't go near that. He already told me he wouldn't go near it. Although, I mean, if he didn't, I think Brandon should do Night Owl. If he did any of them, Night Owl. Hear that, Brandon? Stay away from Rorschach. I know that's the plum. You don't want that one. You don't want none of that.
How about John Lehman running Rorschach?
Well, he was abused as a child, and his mother was a prostitute. So
and we all know John Lehman writes what he knows.
Yeah, he'd be perfect for it.
That's terrible. That is terrible. I think that's a good note to end on. Any other one?
Son of a whore. Anything else? You want to check out the CCW TV blog where every day Jose and members of the CCW Nation make contributions. We have some great reviews. Iron Muskrat has been doing some great reviews on the blog. If you are interested in making a contribution and you're willing to deal with the very stringent standards that we have here,
yeah, there's going to be a couple more contributors. Locus Mortis is going to start doing a monthly column. We've been talking to him about that, which is pretty cool. By the time this goes up already, Variant Girl wrote an op-ed for us. So that's going up tonight when we tape this. So there's probably going to be a week removed, or maybe even a month. God knows how long it's going to take you to get this video up. But yeah, so I mean, we're getting regulars on there now besides just myself.
And, we've created a new fan art page. So some of you have commented, would we accept fan art? We'd be happy to see your contributions. Demar already has 3 pieces up on the board. And you're welcome to send us more.
I really think that you should throw that Golden Lobe up there, too. That
the Golden
Maniconda
Lobe, yeah.
Because that was fan art
That was
pretty much.
pretty cool. So we'll put that up.
You got to get that up there.
And,
are we going to announce a contest soon on the blog?
Oh, yeah, we do have
prizes.
We
coming
do
in, right?
have prizes. John Lehman has sent me those signed Chew books.
You haven't put up on eBay yet? Surprised.
You know what? I tried and I didn't get any bids. That's a problem. I got some comments about why the fuck did you let him sign them?
Yeah, because you ruined them. I told you not to do that.
I know.
But yeah, so there's gonna be a contest hopefully soon on the blog, and it would be nice if Ellie can actually coordinate some shit and like actually put the contest up when this video goes up, so we can get some traffic over there. But who knows?
Who knows?
But there's a contest coming up, and you can win 2 comics signed by John Lehman.
Who knows? Maybe if
that's your thing.
Maybe if you click on the link right there, it'll take you to an entry on the blog where we have a contest running. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. You'll have to click and see. All right. On that note, thank you, folks, for joining us here. We always look forward to your feedback, your comments, and your criticisms. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks, Jose. And thanks to you out there on the interwebs. So, until next time, this is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics. We hope to see you again soon.